So if you think about it, guys, right, there's been times where, well, obviously you're not doing it right now, but for example, maybe Nicole or maybe you, Dagan, maybe you guys, maybe you are loyal to a brand. Maybe you, crap, I just pulled up the wrong bloody notes. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, here we go. Perfect. All right. So think about it, right? Think about the Super Bowl. Some people watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, right? This is the peanut one. This is the Cheez-Its one. This one, I don't know what this one is. I don't know what this one is either. But my point is that a lot of us watch the Super Bowl maybe for the commercials. And the idea of the commercial is trying to say that our product is unique for this reason. We hear of like viral videos that we watch videos on YouTube. And Nicole, besides TV, can you tell me where else you think companies will have commercials?
Billboards or the radio.
And what about social media? Are you a big social media person?
Yeah, I have social media.
Right. So do you see a lot of commercials being aimed at you? Not you, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the idea is that instead of the idea is that they're trying to. So here, what they're saying is, even though this is a competitive industry, the firm is trying to create a monopoly by establishing a brand name. For example, Nicole, is there anything that you're loyal to, like makeup-wise or shampoo-wise? I mean, if you don't have to be. I mean, like, would you like, like, does that make sense? Like, there may be like a generic makeup, but you're not going to buy Walmart makeup because it may end up like poisoning you or making your eyes. So, are you loyal to any type of brand?
I use a lot of Ulta stuff.
Okay. And Dagan, what about you? Is there any brand that you're loyal to? Chevy, yeah. Or some people would say, I'm only going to buy a car as long as it's a Ford. So the point about this is, guys, look, if we think about it, what influences your purchase? What makes your demand inelastic? What that basically means is in monopolistic competition, look, firms are producing a product like McDonald's, pizza industry, the food industry. There's so many restaurants, well, there isn't right now because of the pandemic. But will you go somewhere because of the size of the product, the taste, or the shape? Will you go somewhere because of the style or the color, the texture, the quality, the location, the packaging, the advertising, or the service? Maybe you're willing to pay more money for a service, or maybe you like going to Aldi's only because you like the price, or maybe you don't like Aldi's because it's claustrophobic. Maybe people will go to IGA because there's a lot more people on the floor and they can help you. IGA isn't a big, huge, overwhelming, big box store. So the idea is, no matter the price, you want to buy the product. Just like Nicole, you might buy Ulta even though it's more expensive than, I don't know, like Sarah May or Fannie Mae or whatever that thing is called, Merrill Norman or something, right? So the idea is that you have an inelastic demand. So look, in monopolistic competition, you have got product differentiation. What that means is, in order for me to charge a higher price, right, I have to make sure that my product is different than yours. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So what that means is I have to convince you that Ulta is better. So, and Nicole, if you want, you can type in. If you don't want to be recorded, that's cool. If you want to type in the chat box, either way. So, so Dagan, why Chevy? What sets Chevy apart from Ford and Honda and Toyota and Dodge? I don't know. So Dagan, what sets Chevy apart for you? So I'll let you come back to that one, Dagan. So Nicole, what about Ulta for you? Oh, reliability. Sorry, yeah, reliability. Style the truck. Yeah. So, for example, I might be brand loyal to a certain type of running shoe because I like how it fits on my foot. So, Nicole, what makes you choose Ulta?
They have good reputation and it seems to last.
Exactly. So in pure competition, it's every unit sold at the same price You can't make your corn different than someone else. You can't make your product different. It'd be like if every lemonade stand sold the same lemonade for the same price. You can't make your lemonade stand better than somebody else's. Now, if you were to make your lemonade stand monopolistic competition, you could say, well, I'm going to deliver, the lemonade to your house, or I will give you a free toilet paper roll if you buy, lemonade from me. I'll give you free hand sanitizer, right? How do you set yourself apart is basically what we're talking about. So look, for example, what people don't realize is that the substitute, like a lot of products are very much the same, but they're not perfect substitutes. So how can you make something different? Like I might go to a gas station that charges 8 cents more because it's off the interstate, or because I can go there and get milk, or because I like their corn dogs. Ugh. But either way, it's all based on perception, right? The businesses have to create this idea that they're better than somebody else's. So that's why we have non-price competition. So that means, Nicole, you might spend $20 more for Ulta because you like their service. Even though there's a cheaper version, you believe that Ulta, you're paying for the service. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why it's inelastic, which means you don't care if they raise their prices, you like the service. And for example, some of you may have worn perfume or cologne. Did you realize that only 3% of the ingredients is actually marketing and packaging? The rest, basically, the people are buying these perfumes because they believe that it's going to help them be nicer smelling or more attractive. And what's crazy is basically perfume is just scented water, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the marketing and the packaging. So whether it's Justin Bieber or Selena Gomez, they convince you to buy that, even though it's really water and scents. So the idea is in monopolistic competition, it's pretty easy for a firm to enter the market. So for that means is, Nicole, if you ran a restaurant and you were selling an item, it'd be easy for another restaurant to copy. Or Dagan, if you were owning a bar and you were making a certain type of drink, it wouldn't be difficult for another bar to copy it. Right. However, in monopolistic competition, they have to set themselves apart. And that's why we call that product differentiation. So the idea is you have to make sure that you stand out. All right. So for example, Big Mac, more like a medium. Like for example, what was it? Burger King a couple of months ago was going after McDonald's because they were making fun of them. In the past, during the Super Bowl, Budweiser has used a commercial to say that Miller was using corn or something else and they weren't supposed to. So companies have to knock someone else off their pedestal in order for them to appeal to you and get your money. All right, so we'll come back to this graph in a second. All right. So remember location, product. So the design of the product, service, as you said, perception, right? For example, you go to a restaurant because you know what the good customer service, whereas you may avoid a certain restaurant because you don't like their customer service, or because you think people are rude, or you might get food poisoning. There's also brand name and advertising. So as we said before, entry is relatively easy, monopolistic competition. You haven't patented the good, right? So as I said, Nicole, if you were selling lemonade, it wouldn't be hard for anyone else to sell lemonade, and it wouldn't be hard for them to say, hey, my lemonade is better than yours.
Mm-hmm.
The demand is highly price elastic. What that means is it's quite easy for someone to switch to a different product because there's lots of substitutes. However, demand is less elastic because companies are going to go out of their way to convince you that their product is better, even though there's probably not much of a difference. Like, for example, Nicole or Dagan, is there a particular type of water that you drink bottled water wise, or do you just drink whatever is in the fridge or whatever you get your hands on? So what about you, Nicole? Water-wise, are you loyal to a particular type of water? Any of them? What about you?
No, not really.
Yeah, but there's certain people, possibly my wife, who will actually like a certain type of water, and I'm like, okay. To me, it's like I'll take it out of the faucet, you minus the brown liquid, right? I'll drink it. But see, some people are convinced that this brand is better because it's just, maybe it's in their head, maybe it's not. All right, so look, just like before, we're going to look at the graph for a second. And I want to go to graph slide number 11. Can we all do that? Yeah. Okay. If not, let me know. Slide number 11. Now, Nicole, does this look very similar to what we just looked at on the test?
Yes.
Yeah. But the thing is, you might say, why is it the same graph? It's the same graph with a twist. Whether we notice it or not, the demand curve is going to be flatter for the firm here because it's not a monopolist. It's not going to have a super steep curve, but at the same time, it's going to have a downward sloping demand curve, which means is this firm has the ability to raise or lower their prices based on the fact that they have a certain monopoly power on their good. So they're not going to have a flat demand curve, even though they're in a competitive industry, they still have a little bit of a monopoly power. So, for example, Ulta has a hold over you, right, Nicole? Because you buy, you're loyal. You're like, not that you're kidnapped, which sounds weird. You're brand loyal. They've captured you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you found out that like Ulta was being used to test like the blind animals, you might be like, hell no, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I don't know. It sounds a bit cruel, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the graph is pretty similar, but yet again, okay. So in this graph, we have the MC and the MR. So, do you understand, Nicole, that the quantity is where the MC and MR meet?
Yes.
And where's that going to be? It's going to be a QMC, right?
Yeah.
And then do you notice where the price is? Where's the price going to be? Is it going to be ATC or P1?
P1.
P1, boom, you've nailed it, right? So what happens is over time is, Nicole, you're selling your lemonade. The guy and I show up and go, wait a minute, she's making a bunch of money over lemonade. I'm going to do that too. But guess what? I'm going to offer I'm going to deliver it to your house. I'm going to give away toilet paper. You know what? I'm also going to put some alcohol in there if you're over 21, right? Or not, but either way. I'm going to do something different. So what happens is the demand curve is going to shift left for your product, right? Because more firms are coming in. So what's going to happen over time is we're going to end up earning zero economic profit. And by the way, guys, that zero economic profit to me is a bit unrealistic, because that's like saying to a firm, hey, guess what? Go ahead and wait. Go ahead and earn zero economic profit, and then you'll be fine. Meaning in the real world, a company is never going to sit back and earn zero economic profit. The company's goal is to try to always stay ahead of somebody else or try to make themselves stand out. So it's like a race that never ends. Does that make sense? So the guy might say to himself, I'm ahead of Nicole. I'm going to take it easy. Whereas he should be saying is, how can I stay ahead of Nicole, right? Okay. So let's see if there's any other questions about those notes. If there's not, okay, we're good. So I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to hit pause here, guys.